Okay, last week, something that it feels like forever, it was whispered and rumored, that of course was revealed last year, the Steam Machine, Valve's console slash PC, finally revealed its pricing, its finalized specs, reviews were open, and also pre-orders. And despite the fact that Valve tried to do a new approach to reservations in a sort of randomized queue, you can already find the pre-orders scalped to oblivion on the internet. And this comes before anything else we discuss. So I'm going to be open right from the start. The Steam Machine is not a particularly good deal, okay? You should, by no way, buy this thing scalped. Not even close. This is not a case like the PS5 or the Nvidia 50 series, where there was no other choice. If you wanted something from the latest generation of graphics cards, because AMD suffered the same at first, either bought scalped or prayed to the gods of the internet that you could find one in stock. Same with the PS5. This is not the case. The Steam Machine has a lot of alternatives, okay? That is the fault particularly of its price point. We will talk about that, and I want to go over everything. Because despite the fact that I think this is not a good deal, I am very happy that it was made. I am very happy that it exists, and I think it signals something that is fantastic for gaming in general, not just PC gaming. So, we're gonna go over the specs, the models that you have, the pricing, and is this a product for no one? And who is it actually for after everything has been said and done? So let's go. Okay, we're going to go over everything about the Steam Machine. We're going to start with the specs. I'm going to be referencing Gamers Nexus review of the Steam Machine because I think it's a fantastic video and you should totally watch it. They made some amazing points and they go really in depth. So, as for the specs, the Steam Machine has a CPU, which is a semi-custom AMD Zen 4 6-core 12 threads. The GPU is, again, semi-custom AMD RDNA 3 28 CUs. It ships with 16 gigs of DDR5 memory. Also, the graphics card boasts 8 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM memory. Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, 1 gigabit Ethernet. It has an integrated Steam controller wireless adapter, and it ships with SteamOS 3. Now, that is the same for every model. The only difference is the SSD. The base model comes with a 512 NVMe SSD, and the other model comes with a 2 terabyte SSD. So those are the base specs. But because it's semi-custom, what does it compare to into consumer hardware? We're going to reference Gamers Nexus.
Thanks, Steve.
They made a comparison with off-the-shelf parts. So the semi-custom CPU can be closely compared to a Ryzen 5 7400F. The GPU can be compared roughly with a Radeon RX 7600. So that will lead us to the pricing, which is the big talking point. Because even if it's underpowered, which it is for this day and age, so was the Switch. When the Switch came out in 2018, it was already underpowered for what it was expected at that time. It had nothing to do in terms of raw compute power to PS4. But the Switch was a pretty good deal because it did something that was revolutionary at the time, a hybrid console. They tried with the Wii U, they succeeded with the Switch. So a lot of people, myself included, I bought one like 2 months after it was released. That was enough of a trade-off. Sure, it's not as powerful, but I can play it on the go or on TV. So the components being a bit older or underpowered is not the biggest deal. It's when you pair it with the price. So the 512 gig model comes at a whopping 1,039 euros. Also for Freedom units, it's 1,049 US dollars. That is very, very rough. And we'll get into why, because it falls into a category that it doesn't appeal to anyone. Don't get me wrong, this is going to sell out. In fact, it's already sold out. You cannot pre-order it directly. You join a wait list. So that's the 512 gig model. That model is just the cube. It doesn't come with a controller. If you want it bundled with a controller, it's 1,108 euros or 1,128 US dollars. Now, if you may want more room, because 512 for PC gaming and for console as well, but for a PC, it's kind of limited if you wanted to play games. If you want the 2 terabyte model, that's rough. That's 1,359 euros and 1,349 US dollars without the controller. If you want the controller, it's 1,428 US dollars and the same in euros. Now, unlike a console, if it was bundled without the controller, a PC, it's not that big of a deal. Why? Because it's compatible with any off-the-shelf controller. You can get the cheapest Bluetooth controller for like $20, and it's going to work perfectly with this. It's that simple. So it's not that big of a deal, especially because the Steam controller that I haven't used, but I've heard that it's fantastic. It's pretty expensive. I like that it's bundled with a controller or not, so it gives you the option. In this case, okay, I want to make this completely clear. Xbox, if you ship a console without a controller, you can fuck right off. Okay? Because I've seen those rumors. Don't even think about it. And probably someone in the comments is going to tell me why that's probably a good idea. Okay, so this is a product that is very, very overpriced for what it delivers in terms of performance. Is it a good value? No. No. I want you to make no mistake. It's not a good value. And I want to tell you something so you know where I'm coming from. I am a Valve and Steam fanboy. I love Steam. I think is the best platform for video games anywhere. PC, console, doesn't matter. I believe it's a company that puts its customers first. It's very rare for Valve to have an L, okay? This is one of them. Is it entirely their fault? No. Unless, in case you're not aware, the prices are absolutely insane. The best example I can give you, I bought the memory, my RAM, for my PC right now. It's 32 gigs, DDR5 memory, and I bought that kit for like 140, something like that, from the Corsair website, probably in November. I'll have to look it up. Right now, that kit was $600. So no, I'm not going to blame Valve entirely. Valve has said themselves they wanted it to price it lower. Let's go over who was this meant to be for. I believe that years ago, probably, when they thought about this idea, when they started developing it, their idea was always to compete with consoles, to be plug and play like a console, to be as closely as the console experience in order to try to drive people from console that only play console into PC gaming. Now, the point of the pricing kind of pushes that off. If this was $500, that would be put it tied with the cheapest consoles that we have right now. And it would actually make a lot of a better deal, because one thing is spending $1,000 for something that... So, right now, well, who is this product for? Like I said on the title, it's pretty much for no one. So, let's go over the most likely customers for this thing. So, we're going to start with PC gamers. Is this for PC gamers that are already familiar with, already have a PC, or even if it's not theirs, but they play on PC? Is this for them? No. Why? Well, there's one thing to keep in mind. PC gamers, most of them, are already familiar with the wonders, but also the extreme frustrations of PC gaming. And I'm not even talking about DIY your own machine. I'm talking about fucking Windows. If you've been playing on PC for any length of time, you know, things sometimes don't fucking work. Okay? And 9 times out of 10 is Windows' fault. Especially if you get out of Steam and you want to get, your games somewhere else. Either way, because we know, have no problem looking for alternatives. And believe me, there is a lot. Coming back to the Gamers Nexus video, they put up this comparable PC for DIY parts, and they set it at $979. It's a system they put in performance similar to the Steam machine, so cheaper for pretty much the same performance. And you may be thinking, okay, well, then if you don't want to build it on your own, you can get the Steam machine. But here's the other problem. The Steam machine, while it is very repairable, it's not very upgradable. Because the CPU and the GPU are essentially mobile parts, but they are semi-custom, they cannot be replaced. You will have to replace the entire board, and you're not going to find a board that can fit into there because it was custom made for the small form factor. The only thing you can upgrade is the RAM and the SSD, which is a plus for the DIY. If you make a DIY PC, it's going to be bigger, yes, but a few years down the line, especially with a system like this, that it's already getting outdated, you could just replace the graphics card or the CPU or everything. That's the beauty of DIY or pre-built DIY PCs. They are upgradable. You can replace anything on it. In contrast, the Steam machine, if you want a game to play and the Steam machine simply can't run it because it's too new, you have to replace the whole thing. So that is, for the same price, it's very much worth it. Oh, and by the way, this is DIY. You can get pre-built PCs with better performance for slightly more than the Steam machine, with the added benefit of upgradability. Like I said, PC gamers that are used to these things, and not even the ones that are used to DIYing their own PCs, and hell, I would strongly encourage anyone to simply DIY the PC. Trust me, okay? I was scared shitless the first time, but I did it. If I can do it, anyone can. Okay, now let's go to the ones that I thought were the actual target audience. Console gamers. We're going to talk about people that don't own anything, no PC, no console, but they might be interested into gaming, or parents that may want to buy their kids either a PC or a console, but mostly a console because it's easier. Or people that have a console, maybe you have an older console. Like I always say, it's your money. If you like it and you don't care about paying a hefty premium for it, go for it. Listen, I think it looks amazing. And it's so little. It's slightly bigger than a GameCube. I would love to have it just for because it's cool. But I'm not going to pay $1,000 for cool. So if you want something like beefy, because you want a high fidelity gaming, maybe you have a 4K TV, just get a PS5 Pro. The PS5 Pro is $900. It's cheaper and it's a lot more powerful. The only advantage of the Steam machine is that it can play PC games. That's it. If you're concerned about money, you can buy a base PS5. Like seriously, you can get a base PS5, it's $650, which it's a hefty price for a console. And while the CPU of the base PS5 is less powerful than the one in the Steam machine, the GPU is better. The advantage of console is that games are usually better optimized because you have only to optimize for one system. Now, eventually you're going to get, like we got with the Steam Deck, you're going to get Steam Machine verified titles. So companies will test their games on the Steam Machine to see if it's verified, if it plays well, like it does with the Steam Deck. That would depend how much adoption the Steam Machine gets, at least in the long term. So if you're a parent and you might be interested in buying something for your kid, even if you want them to, if you really want them to get into PC gaming and you know even a little, just a little bit, you can get a pre-built. Just get a pre-built and it's going to be a better deal. Even if you think, oh, but it's simpler, it's plug and play. I understand it, but at that point, if you have money to spare, it doesn't matter. Buy whatever you want. But if you are kind of conscious, okay, I don't want to spend I want to make $1,000 worth it because it's a lot of money, buy the PS5 Pro. By the way, the base PS5 is $650 with the disc drive. If you don't care about that, sadly, you can get the digital console. It's $600. As a bit of a side note, when I wanted to make this video before GTA 6 pre-orders interrupted everything, right now, if you are like, okay, I really want to save as much money as I can, I don't want to spend that much money, I was going to suggest you could get an Xbox Series S, 500 gigs for $400, which is less powerful than a Steam machine, but you put Game Pass on it and you're golden. Or maybe an Xbox Series X, the digital one, for 600, same as the PS5. It's more powerful than a base PS5, and it was the same price. You can also put Game Pass on it. However, that changed in the last couple of days, because what I thought was actually in terms of like, okay, I want to save money, I want to make it as cheap as I can, it just became such a horrible deal, because Xbox, in their infinite wisdom, when they're pushing back exclusive games to gain more market, they just raise the prices of the Xbox consoles again by between $100 and $150. The Xbox Series S, which was $400, the cheapest console there is now $500. The X, which was $650, same price as the disc version PS5, it's now $800. I'm going to be honest with you, there is no reason to buy an Xbox right now. And I'm sorry if that hurts anybody, but for $800, I would certainly not recommend an Xbox right now. Because if you want a Series X, if you want, like, okay, I'm fine with base PS5 performance, I would have recommended a Series X because it's more powerful. You can put Game Pass on it. It was a good deal. Now it's $800. God, no. So the Steam machine falls into this middle category. Now, the other argument that you could say, the Steam machine is very plug and play because it comes with SteamOS 3. And if you're not familiar with SteamOS, but you are a Steam user, if you ever use Steam Big Picture, it's pretty much the same. However, that's actually not a very good argument anymore because, and the best part of all of this, in my opinion, Valve also released SteamOS 3. Now, SteamOS 3 can be installed anywhere, as far as you don't have an NVIDIA GPU. Because SteamOS is Linux-based, and if you ever tried to game on Linux with an NVIDIA card, the drivers are an absolute nightmare. Now, Valve has said that it's working with NVIDIA to make SteamOS work with NVIDIA graphics cards, but for now, if you have an Intel or an AMD card, you can just put the SteamOS on it and get your own Steam machine. Yeah, it won't be as nicely small little cube, but you're going to get pretty much the same experience with a bigger box. That's it. Ultimately, right now, who is this for? Well, fans. And I don't mean just fans of Valve, that just fans of PCs, of thinkers, fans of nice hardware, cute hardware, rare hardware. Like I said, I have no practical use for it. I would use it on my TV to stream my PC or to play indie games, and it could be cool, but not for $1,000. But people that have that money to burn, like, okay, I have a lot of money and I don't care, they're going to buy it. That's why it sold out. Now, there is the other side of the argument that I've seen some people make. Valve could have subsidized the price. As you may or may not know, consoles, historically, has always been sold at a loss because the companies, they sell you the console cheap, so then you go and buy games on their storefront or physical games for their console. Not only they put you into their ecosystem, but they also get a kickback for games bought on the PlayStation Store, for example. So that has always been the deal. They compete, they get you into the hardware, so then you buy the software where they make the money. So Valve could have done that. Now, there is people that say that, well, they should have, because I am not of those people. I don't think they should have. Why? Because I think that the Steam machine as is, to be mainstream, it should have been 500. Now, the target was allegedly 750, which would have been a lot better than 1,000. But I think in order to be more massively acquired by the public, should have been closer to 500. So it can directly compete to some of the cheapest consoles. By the way, I failed to mention the Switch 2, which has now become, honestly, the best deal in consoles. We all thought it was awful how they increased the price of the console, and now it's one of the cheapest ones. This is actually the worst timeline. So yeah, the Switch 2 is also another option if you want Nintendo games. Well, and a lot of third-party games, because there is even rumors that GTA 6 is going to get a Switch 2 version at some point. Anyway, if it was closer to 500, maybe 600, it could have competed with the consoles and it could have achieved a market share in that price point. That would have been a lot better. But that would entail subsidizing almost $500. And don't get me wrong, Valve has a lot of money. That's how Gabe buys its mansions and its boats. No, which, hey, kudos to him. I've also heard this argument that, hey, if you're going to hate billionaires, you need to hate them all at the same time. Well, it's different. When Jensen Huang, if he buys a $100 million mansion and a $1 million boat, it pisses me off more because I feel like Nvidia screws up its regular customers, mostly gamers, which made their business now in pro of AI. But because Valve usually puts its customer first, and hey, if Gabe wants to buy a $70 million mansion, hey, at least he's not screwing me over all the time, so good for him. But I don't think they could have subsidized it, not when the price skyrocketed to this amount. Why? Well, for two reasons. Because unlike a console, while yes, most of the people that buy a Steam machine are going to play Steam games, there is no guarantee they're going to buy Steam games. If they don't buy Steam games, because maybe they use it for something else, they put another distro on it and they use it for work-related stuff because it's nice, it's small, they can use it to travel. I don't know, whatever excuse, doesn't matter. If they're not buying Steam games, then you just lost all that you subsidized for that machine, which is not the case for a PlayStation. If you buy a PlayStation, at some point you're going to buy a game. Most likely, a few games. Like I said, if this was $750 cost and they could lower it down to $600, it will get a lot more mainstream appeal, which could compensate. So, like I said, if you're a normal person that doesn't have thousands of dollars burning their pockets, it's not a good deal. And I say straight up, don't buy it. There are better options. If you come and tell me, hey, I really, really want it, I really like it and I want it, yeah, sure. I'm not telling you not to buy it if you really want it, but if you're looking for, okay, this could be interesting because I may want to get into PC gaming, there is a lot of better alternatives. And it may not be as plug and play or as easy to implement as this, but not a lot more complicated. Trust me, you don't have to build your own PC. You don't have to do anything, but you might have to buy it as a pre-built. Now, I still think the fact that Valve made it, it's absolutely fantastic, and not for PC gaming, for gaming in general. As we all know, console gaming is the closest system that you can get. There has been little to no upgradability for consoles. In fact, if at all, you could increase the storage. So it's a very closed ecosystem. PC gaming has always been about being open. The idea was that it could bring it to more people. Sadly, that's not the case. You can choke it to, greed, which I doubt. I mean, yeah, to some extent, we're not going to burn money on it, but mostly for hardware costs. But it's still good that it's made. It's attempting to bridge that gap, but also introducing people, or trying to introduce people, to a more open system than a console. And like I said, the best part of this, SteamOS is now available for anyone. It opens a lot of possibilities that I am very excited for. Now, yes, I wish this could have been priced like a console so it could reach more people and get more people into the wonders of PC gaming. But I think that it's still fantastic that they made it, and fantastic that they keep developing it, and most likely, hopefully, if the price comes down, which doesn't seem to be the case, because if you haven't seen, Micron said that prices are going to remain high for the foreseeable future because they already sold all they locked deals for their output for the next couple of years, so prices are going to remain high. Hopefully at some point they come down. overall, I'm happy with the Steam machine, but I'm happy that Valve seems to be the only company pushing for actual benefit for their gamers in terms of ownership, repairability, because again, I'm going to link another video by Gamers Nexus where they did a teardown and they explain how you can repair the machine. So please go watch it. It's fantastic. Also watch the review. It's absolutely great. If you care about... Oh, yeah. Also, there is another positive point for the machine. It is very power efficient, which kind of... It's a double-edged sword because it consumes less power closer to a console, but that also limits the power of their CPU and GPU. So it's a bit of the reason why it performs maybe not as good. That is something else that you can keep in mind. If you build your own PC, it's probably gonna consume a lot more than the Steam machine. It is also very quiet. So yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts on the Steam machine. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Were you excited about it? Are you disappointed by the price? Are you happy for what Valve is trying to do? Or maybe you just hope that they forget all this and just focus on Steam? Which I think that, hey, if they have all that money and they can do something like this, I think it's just a net positive for everyone. But let me know what you think. If you made it to this point, thank you for listening. And I hope you consider leaving a like in the video and subscribing if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.